Hi everybody. I haven't talked to you for a while. I know some people are saying, "Hey, I went to look to see if you had a new video." So I figured, well, okay, I'll tell you what's been going on. For the last month, it has been raining almost every single day in Oklahoma. Every single day is a tornado watch or a tornado warning. Yesterday, some of you may have heard there were 2 people killed in a tornado in El Reno, Oklahoma. That's way north of me. I'm in the southwest corner of the state, not far from Texas. So the storms seemed to start here and then get worse as they moved on up to the northeast as they went. Some people today are probably getting the storms that we had yesterday. But also my roommate, he was my daughter-in-law's grandfather, has been living with me for about 2 years, almost 2 years, renting a room from me. The family kept saying, "What are you going to do, start an old folks home?" I'm like, ha ha ha, But he died Monday. Yeah, he died Monday, and his funeral was this past Friday, and with his kids coming by for items for his funeral and going to the funeral and consoling family members, and that's been really hard. His kids still have to come and get the rest of his belongings out of his room. Most of it's still here. He had a really big funeral. I mean, there were lots of people there. A lot of people. The guy was a nice guy, bend over backwards for anybody, help anybody he could, good guy. Not a church-going guy, but, good-hearted guy, who was quite wild in his younger years, I heard. I didn't meet him when he was young, but, he's a pretty nice guy, real nice. And, so the family's going through some adjustments and grieving, and anyway, I thought I'd tell you guys updated why you haven't heard from me. It's because, he's been sick and dying, and the storms have been every day. From what I understand, there's another watch for tonight here where I live. We'll see what happens. I've been trying to get out there and do yard work, but there's no way. I mean, I have puddles in my yard where the grass has actually died because the water's been sitting there so long. I mean, there's no more room for the water to go but to flood things now because the ground is saturated. The puddles aren't even draining out. I got standing puddles because the ground won't soak it in no more. I have a pond in my yard that my kids put in years ago. My boys, they dug it years ago, and that thing has overflowed. I don't know how many times in the last few weeks. It's overflowed again yesterday. I can't put any of those mosquito biscuit donuts in there until it quits overflowing. But I was out there last night, and the frogs are real happy. They're out there chirping away all night long, So between the crickets and and frogs and all that makes a pretty cool sound at night. I like it. But there's a couple videos that I watched the last few days, and the same thing. Basically, how the organization lies to people and misleads them and all that stuff. But there's a couple of teens that communicate with me that are in the organization, some of my friends know one of them, and my dog's out there playing with the other dogs. Louis is just a handful lately, but you'll see him in the next video. But I talked to the young one, a few of the young ones in there. Like I say, some of my closer friends know the one that I talk to all the time. But so many of the young ones are wanting out and to get away from the organization. Me and my friends were having a discussion the other day about the percentage of the kids that leave. I heard that 3 out of 4 leave, but the society says that 3 out of 4 stay. But I don't see that. Everywhere that I've read or heard, it was always 70 to 75% of the teens that grew up in there leave. When they get old enough to go, they leave. They don't remain in the organization. And there are a lot of ones that I grew up with in the organization that are out, that I've contacted, and they're out, or they're in their early 50s now and are getting ready to leave. So, some of them left like a year or two after I did. One of them left 10 years after I did. And like I say, there's a few that are getting out now. So I've contacted a few of them. I talked to a few of them, and the thing that bothers me the most is how dark it is in there for the kids. You see those videos of Sophia and Caleb, and they're just so happy, and it's all butterflies and rainbows, and it's not like that. There are some videos out here on YouTube that you can watch about what it's like growing up in the organization. And somebody put up a video of I think it was a 10-year-old girl from the assembly this year that was talking about how she gets picked on at school and stuff, and she has to pray to Jehovah to help her because she's a Jehovah's Witness, and that's mostly what kids go through. If they admit they're a Jehovah's Witness when they're in elementary school, middle school, high school, they'll get picked on. And I mean, it gets bad sometimes where you're beat up by a gang of kids, kicked. I was spit on, talked bad about for years. It just got old after a while. They just called me the things so many times that didn't even matter anymore. Excuse me. But it is really hard for those kids, and the parents don't seem to realize how hard it is for the kids. They talk about it, oh, the kid's enduring, and the kid's so brave, and it's so good that they're being tortured for God's sake, and the kids aren't doing that. I would have loved to have my parents stop what was going on to me in school. I told them what was going on, and they just tell me, well, turn the other cheek. And when you're being bullied in school and physically beat, those things shouldn't go on. And I don't care who you are, you should not let that keep happening to your child. And so many of Jehovah's Witnesses have the mindset that, well, you're going to be persecuted for following Jehovah. They don't say you'll be persecuted for Jesus. They'll say, well, you'll be persecuted for God's name. because we use God's real name, we'll be persecuted for that. When that's really not why the kids are getting persecuted. That's not why the kids are getting beat up. That's not why they're scared. They don't want to go to school. But school is a better alternative than being at home. I was thinking about what it was like for me when I was growing up, and some of you know, like I mentioned before, my dad was really abusive, emotionally, physically, you name it. He was abusive, and not a nice person. I didn't want to go to school because I get beat up, but I didn't want to be at home because of all the abuse that was going on. So, the only fun and the only time that I got away from the stress was at assemblies, because then I saw people that I hadn't seen, lately, or hadn't seen for a while, from different congregations, and my dad wasn't following me around, my mom wasn't following me around. I could just go and talk to my friends and just relax. I didn't look forward to going home at the end of the assembly. I thought assemblies were the best part of anything, but Kingdom Hall meetings, no, they weren't fun. My dad was really, really mean to his family in a lot of different ways, like I said. And as soon as he walked in the doorway at the Kingdom Hall, he put on this phony smile. And he would go in and he would laugh and joke around with the other brothers and stuff like that, and act like he was just so perfect. And as soon as we left the Kingdom Hall and went through the doorway, we got into the car to go home, he was back to being just mean. I remember one Sunday, went to a Sunday morning meeting, and we were all in a hurry that morning. We were all behind. I don't remember why, but we went to the meeting before we could even get breakfast that morning. I don't remember why, but after the meeting, my dad drove to a restaurant, and our stomachs were just growling. We were so hungry. And my dad got out of the car, went into the restaurant, and got a window seat right next, so we could see him from the car. And he sat in there and ordered this big breakfast and sat there and ate in front of my mom and the rest of us, so we could watch him eat. But we weren't allowed to go in and eat. I thought, man, that's really mean, man. That's really messed up. That's really messed up, man. I guess when I was, like I tell people, I must have been 8, 9 years old. They made my dad a ministerial servant, and I was like, man, when I get old enough to get a job and support myself, I'm getting the heck out of here. And that's what those teens in there today are going through. The same thing. Dark, miserable, abusive, dictator dads and mothers that don't pay attention because they're all concentrated on Watchtower stuff. They get neglected and ignored, and they want out. They can't. They're counting months and days. This one kid that my friends know, I think when I first met him, he was about 14, and he's been counting since then, just waiting till he gets old enough he can get the heck out of there. He'll probably see my video. He'll probably leave a message in the comments. Yeah, she's talking about me, but yeah, I'm like, man, I try my best to encourage him and give him tips on what he needs to do, planning, planning for those times, because he's got a couple of years left to plan, and he's getting closer now, and he's getting close to that time. I bet you he's down to counting months now. But he can't wait to go either, man. He's just had enough, and he's pretty forward about it too. If he shows up in the comment section, he'll tell you all about it. But he wants out. He doesn't want to be made to go to the meetings. He's being forced to go. He doesn't want to go, but they're making him go. He doesn't want to go. And a lot of them are like that, man. I would have rather skipped it. I would have rather done my schoolwork, homework, than go to a meeting. And then try to do my homework at 11 o'clock at night when I had to get up at 5 o'clock to leave for school at 6:30. I'm like, man, I would have rather done my schoolwork and done better at that than be drugged to the meeting for 4 hours at night and then get yelled at because my grades are slipping when they don't realize my grades are slipping because I don't have time to study. They're not allowing me time to study. On Monday night, we would study for the Tuesday night book study. So Monday night, we'd go through the book study. Tuesday night, we had the book study. Wednesday, we'd go over the material that we needed to go over for the theocratic school, or if you had a talk, then you had to go work on that on Wednesday nights, and then Thursday nights was a theocratic school night, and whatever Kingdom School, whatever they call it now, I don't know what they call it now, but and then Friday we had to prepare for field service on Saturday. Saturday was field service. Saturday afternoon might be field service and studying for the Watchtower study on Sunday, or it was just studying for the Watchtower study, depending on if my dad wanted to drag us out in service on Saturday afternoon also, or all day. But then Saturday we had to study for the Watchtower on Sunday. Then Sunday we had the Watchtower study. And then Monday, again, was study for the Tuesday night book study, and then Tuesday night book study, and it just kept, and it was like it took up so much time, plus doing chores and schoolwork and all that. It just was overwhelming, too much, and they just keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. And I saw when I was young that no matter how much you do, they're always telling you do more, do more. And assemblies are pep rallies, get everybody hyped up. We got a new publication. This is the month you got a pioneer. And it was always a pep rally. And then at the Kingdom Hall, it was all study, practice for field service. Most of the meetings these days, from what I can see, are just practicing for field service. When they do go out in field service, the majority of them are just standing there, not talking to anybody anyway. But they don't have carts where I live. No carts. I've never seen a table set up, carts anywhere. And like I say, I've lived in this house for 20 years, and I've only seen Jehovah's Witnesses come through here 4 times in 20 years. But I know they came through one day that I didn't see them because they left literature at my son's house next door. So, 5 times in 20 years they've been through this neighborhood. And that's pretty shabby. They don't make a big imprint in this community here. You don't see them very often. People don't know what they believe, and I tell everybody all about them and why to stay away from them, Even if I'm just talking to somebody at the courthouse or a doctor's office or wherever, I'll tell them all about it and stay away from them. But there's just been a lot going on lately, And like I say, the videos that I've been seeing, they seem to say it, so I just been quiet. There's been so many storms here. Like I said, there's another severe thunderstorm watch for tonight, and I think there's a tornado watch until 10 p.m. again tonight. It gets old, but I love you guys. I'm still here, and I'll see you around. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.